This idea, which is that what you put out into the world comes back to you in the form of experience, pervades all spiritual traditions. In fact, it's central to many spiritual traditions. But notice that this idea is not religious. It's not something that you have to believe. It's something that you can verify in your experience. And believing in this has nothing to do with believing that a certain individual or a certain group of individuals are divine or semi-divine or divinely guided. These things are often conflated in traditional religion. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha says that if a person commits evil, evil falls back upon the fool, like light dust thrown up against the wind. The Prophet Muhammad says, "He who does not show mercy is not shown mercy." In traditional religion, lines like these are interpreted as meaning, don't go around being cruel to people because a ruthless overseeing man in the sky will eventually catch you and he will be ruthless to you. So to not rouse his anger, you might as well stick to the rules. But the line is very clear and very simple. And the non-religious nature of the line is also very clear and very simple. He who does not show mercy is not shown mercy. Your internal experience is synonymous with your external experience. Your subjective experience, which you put into the world, is synonymous with the objective experience that you receive from the world. With that in mind, listen to the following line, a pretty famous line, attributed to Jesus Christ. "Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you." To see that these statements are fundamentally not religious, and that instead they are belief-free descriptions of how reality works, go back to the few thought experiments I included in the beginning of this video. One way to summarize the scary situation example in the beginning of the video is to say the following. Express fear, and you shall experience frightening situations. Express indifference, and you shall experience neutral situations. One way to summarize the other example, where your boss comes into the office and yells at you, is to say the following. Those who think little of themselves shall experience disrespectful bosses. A shorter version could go something like this. Disrespect, and you shall be disrespected. By contrast, those confident in themselves shall experience little angry bosses that can be put in their places easily. And a shorter version will be, respect, and you will be respected. Read the following lines from religious books and notice that the same concept is being discussed here. Notice also that this concept, once again, is just not religious in nature. The Quran says, "Evil scheming overwhelms none but its authors." When you initiate an experience by resorting first in your thoughts and then in your actions to deception and trickery in order to get what you want, then by definition, you created a world where that which you desire is not easily available to you. It is for this reason that evil scheming overwhelms none but its authors. Once again, the very attitude you approached the world with becomes synonymous with the world you just approached. The Tao Te Ching, which is essentially one of the main texts in Taoism, says the following: "Those who steal from others impoverish themselves." Most people assume that it's lack of abundance that drives them to disempowered actions, such as stealing, but it's actually the other way around. The moment you feel like you have to steal something, that right there is the moment that you lose it. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha says, "Long is the night to him who is awake." Once again, we're encountering the same idea. What seems like the external experience of time being long, out there in the world, outside of your control, is actually the internal experience of being fixated on waiting and anticipation. Notice, for example, that if someone is not waiting for something, waiting being an internal experience, by definition, they do not experience its absence, which seems like an external experience. The very next line in that verse is, "Long is the mile to him who is tired." The implication here is that short is the mile to him who is energized. The two travelers are experiencing the same mile differently because they're not experiencing an external mile to begin with. Each traveler is actually experiencing their internal state, which is then projected onto the mile. But if neither traveler is aware of this, it seems to one traveler that the mile being long is an external independent experience that exists out there in the world, regardless of his internal world. And the same is true for the other traveler. Well, someone might ask, well, what is it? Is the mile objectively long or is it short? If you are a student of quantum physics, or if you are slightly familiar with the field, my answer is going to sound familiar. The mile is literally both. There are literally as many versions of the mile as there are observers. The partial subjective experience of each observer is experienced as the objective truth for that observer. Now, someone might say that's not true, that's absurd. The fact that each observer experiences their own version of the same mile is not real. But notice that this person, by definition, is an observer. And the fact that objective reality exists is their subjective version of the situation.